Hello Internet, this is Olin from What I'm Listening To. Hope you all are continuing to stay safe, stay healthy, keep those hands nice and clean, and you're wearing that mask when you go outside. Today's video is going to be vastly different from my usual format of showing off CDs. Today, I have a special guest. This is my robot roommate, also known as Alexa. Say hello, Alexa.
Hello.
I have brought her here today to ask her the important questions of who is the best album by blank. Basically, I will be asking her what is the best album by a variety of different bands and artists whose discographies I'm very familiar with, and seeing if I agree or disagree with her. Now, before I jump into things, I will say this is actually not my original idea. This came from Mr. Anthony Fantano over at Theneedledrop, where he asked SIRI the same thing and got reactions from her. And I wanted to do my version of it because there are some bands that he did not mention in his videos, and some that I will be asking today he did mention in his videos, but I would be curious if SIRI and Alexa are different. I absolutely recommend checking out his videos. They are fantastic, hilarious stuff. So, with all of that being said, let's start asking. Alexa, what is the best album by Wilco?
The best album by Wilco, according to critic and user reviews, is Summer Teeth.
Really? That is a good album, but I'm surprised that's the one she picked. I feel like the right answer should be Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. I mean, that is the album that most people know by Wilco, but I think personally my answer would have been Being There. But Summer Teeth is still a good record nonetheless. Alexa, what is the best album by The National?
The best album by The National, according to critic and user reviews, is Sleep Well Beast.
Sleep Well Beast. Okay, that's a relatively later release, and it's still a pretty good record. Their later releases are still pretty good. I'm not as familiar with them as I am with the other albums. Personally, my favorite is either Alligator or Trouble Will Find You. Really, any album between their first release and Trouble Will Find You. Those albums are all excellent. But I think Alligator would probably be my pick. What is the best album by Low?
The best album by Low, according to critic and user reviews, is Double Negative.
Double Negative. Okay. That one I'm actually not really surprised she picked. It's a much different record compared to all their other stuff. That one they really experimented on, more so than the stuff they did on Cranky. But I think if I were to pick my favorite, it would probably either be Things We Lost in a Fire or their debut record. Probably Things We Lost in a Fire. I think that one's my pick. What is the best album by The Replacements?
The best album by The Replacements, according to critic and user reviews, is Let It Be.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That one is kind of a loaded question because I think everybody agrees that that is The Replacements' best album. I know that is kind of a generic response, but it's so good. It's easily one of my favorite records ever. What is the best album by Radiohead?
The best album by Radiohead, according to critic and user reviews, is OK Computer.
Oh, shocking. OK Computer, huh? Yeah, that's the answer I definitely would have expected. If you were to ask me, I probably would pick Kid A. I'm a bigger fan of Kid A than I am OK Computer. OK Computer is a good album. There's absolutely no denying it, but I connected more with Kid A. I love the direction they were going on that album, but I also really enjoyed In Rainbows as well. What is the best record by Uncle Tupelo?
The best album by Uncle Tupelo, according to critic and user reviews, is No Depression.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually kind of surprised she didn't say their last album because that's the one that I think got the most attention by the mainstream audience. But No Depression is definitely my pick. That album, there's nothing that compares to it. It's so good. One of the best alternative country albums out there. What is the best album by Daniel Johnston?
The best album by Daniel Johnston, according to critic and user reviews, is Fun.
No. No. It's not. It's not. Although I will say I'm not surprised she picked that one. That one was the first album he released on a major label. If you were to ask me, it's gotta be Yip Jump Music. That album, there's no competing with it. Hi, How Are You is good, and it's mostly known for its album artwork, but Yip Jump Music, just a much much better album. What is the best album by the Butthole Surfers?
The best album by Surfers, according to critic and user reviews, is Locust Abortion Technician.
Yep, that would have been my pick too. What is the best album by Stars of the Lid?
The best album by Stars of the Lid, according to critic and user reviews, is The Tired Sounds of Stars of the Lid.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That is a really, really good record, but honestly, I think I like the last record they put out just a little bit more. I don't know, it's funny, I bought both of those albums at the same time, and The Tired Sounds' first 4 or 5 tracks are some of the best drone ambient works I've ever heard, but the whole entirety of the last album, I really, really enjoyed. What is the best album by Tim Hecker?
The best album by Tim Hecker, according to critic and user reviews, is Harmony in Ultraviolet.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That was my first Tim Hecker album, but if I had to pick one for my favorite, Raven Death is definitely up there, which I'm kind of surprised she didn't pick for her answer. I don't know, it might be An Imaginary Country, which is kind of a deeper cut, but I remember listening to that and loving it, and I listened to it, I think, more than any of his other albums. Yeah, I think it's probably that one, and very close second would be Raven Death. What is the best album by Oneotrix Point Never?
The best album by Oneotrix Point Never, according to critic and user reviews, is Returnal.
Returnal, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good one. Although I am kind of surprised she didn't pick Replica, because that's one that I feel like a lot of fans love more. But if I had to pick one, it's between Replica and R+7. You know, I think I'm gonna go with Replica. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. I like the vibe on that one. I like how disjointed it is. It's a very unique sounding album. What is the best album by Boards of Canada?
The best album by Boards of Canada, according to critic and user reviews, is Music Has the Right to Children.
Yeah, again, not shocking. That's a tough call for me to pick a favorite. You know, honestly, I think my favorite might be the Campfire Headface. That might be kind of a hot take opinion, but I think most fans of the duo will agree that their first 3 records are all excellent, and no matter which one you pick as your favorite, it's, just whatever. They're all good. But Music Has a Right to Children is definitely an excellent, excellent electronic album. What is the best album by the Deftones?
The best album by Deftones, according to critic and user reviews, is Koi no Yokan.
I'm actually really surprised by that answer. That is one of my favorite Deftones albums for sure, but I feel like most people would argue that Diamond Eyes is their best album. If you were to ask me, I think Saturday Night Wrist is the best Deftones record. It's their most darkest, most kind of creepier sounding album. It was recorded during a time when they were all not very happy with one another. Actually, they almost broke up during the recording sessions of the record, and it really shows in the songs. I think it's one of the best alternative metal albums I've ever listened to. But Koi no Yokan, still very, very good. What is the best album by Taproot?
The best album by Taproot, according to critic and user reviews, is Gift.
That doesn't shock me. Gift, I think, was the album that got the most attention when they were in the mainstream. Although, I don't know, I think Welcome got just as much of attention. Yeah, I don't know, I think Welcome should have been the right answer, but if you were to ask me, I think Our Long Road Home would have been my answer. That album is a little more different from their other records. I guess you could say it's more like a pop metal album as opposed to the new metal stuff they were doing, especially on Gift. And it shamefully gets not much attention at all. Although Taproot really hasn't been that relevant for the last couple of years, so, whatever. What's the best album by Seven Dust?
The best album by Seven Dust, according to critic and user reviews, is Blackout the Sun.
Really? That's surprising to me. I feel like if we were to go down that road, I feel like most people would have probably picked Home, but Blackout the Sun is up there for me. It was the first Seven Dust album I ever listened to. It's a much more produced sounding album compared to the older stuff like Home and the self-titled album. But if I were to pick my favorite, honestly, it's between their first album and Blackout the Sun, which again, vastly different sounding albums. I think I'm just gonna say Blackout the Sun, because, again, it was the first album I heard. It was the one I'm most familiar with, but close second has to be their very first album. What is the best album by Linkin Park?
The best album by Linkin Park, according to critic and user reviews, is Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, not surprised by that. That is a really, really good record, and I think that one would be my answer too, but honestly, I kind of associate Hybrid Theory and Meteora as one. Like, you can't really have one without the other. Meteora was just such a good follow-up. It just took what they did on Hybrid Theory and just completely expanded on it, and just they did such a great job on it. But yeah, I think Hybrid Theory, it goes without saying that one is the best record. What is the best Nine Inch Nails album?
Are you looking for Nine Inch Nails album?
No, the Nine Inch Nails discography.
A top search result for Nine Inch Nails discography on Amazon is Nine Inch Nails Pretty Hate Machine.
Okay, stop. Alexa, stop. That didn't work.
A top search result for
You're
Nine
still going.
Inch Nails
Great.
discography
Alexa.
on Amazon
Alexa,
is Nine Inch Nails
stop.
Pretty Hate Machine. 33 and
Alexa, stop. I guess we're not asking her that one. Alright, so I'm in the process of editing this video, and I realize the reason why she gave a bogus answer for Nine Inch Nails is because I asked the question in a different format from the rest. So we're gonna go and actually ask her again and see if she gives us a proper answer. What is the best album by Nine Inch Nails?
The best album by Nine Inch Nails, according to critic and user reviews, is Year Zero.
Year Zero? Really? Of all the albums, Year Zero, huh? I honestly would have thought she would have either picked the very first album or even the Downward Spiral. Those would have been the two I would have assumed would be considered the best. Personally, this is a difficult one because I love a lot of Nine Inch Nails' albums, but I think it's either between The Fragile or With Teeth. Oh man. You know, I think I'm gonna go with Teeth, but I will say The Fragile is a phenomenal listen. It's one of those albums that you just need to listen to from start to finish just to get a better, more full experience. With Teeth, I feel like, is a better record for easily digestible individual songs. Both records are solid, but I guess I'm gonna have to go with Teeth for my personal pick. Okay, so now back to the original programming. Woo! What is the best album by Sufjan Stevens?
The best album by Sufjan Stevens, according to critic and user reviews, is Carrie and Lowell.
That actually really surprises me. I would have thought that Illinois would have been the pick for that one. But honestly, I think I agree. I think Carrie and Lowell is my favorite Sufjan album. It's the album I think I connected with the most. I remember listening to it a lot when I was moving out of my hometown and moving to the city on my own for the very first time. And I love the atmosphere of it. I love the stripped down production of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful record. What is the best album by Dinosaur Jr.?
The best album by Dinosaur Jr., according to critic and user reviews, is You're Living All Over Me.
Yep, that sounds about right. That is a fantastic record. It's the album that I think we can credit for being one of the influences for shoegaze music. But that's my second favorite Dinosaur album. I think my first pick would be Beyond, which is a later release. It was the reformation of the band. But it was my first Dinosaur Jr. album. I love the songs on it. It feels like a record where the band members had a pretty established career and they were coming back and they were like, we know what we're doing, so we're just gonna do it on this album. Crazy to me that they're still together to this very day. What is the best album by Brockhampton?
The best album by Brockhampton, according to critic and user reviews, is Iridescence.
Iridescence? What? That is not what I would have picked. I mean, yeah, it's a good album, but man, that's so weird to me. Definitely, for me, it would have been one of the Saturation albums. I'm shocked that she didn't pick any of the Saturation albums. I kind of see all three of those albums as one unit, but oh man, if I really had to pick an album by Brockhampton, I guess I might get some hate for this. I'm gonna probably say Brockhampton 3 would be my favorite. Saturation 2 is good. Saturation 1 is really good too, but I feel like when I listened to Saturation 3, that was the one I just connected with the most. Plus, it has my favorite Brockhampton song ever, which is Hottie. So yeah, I think 3 is probably my top pick. Although, again, those first 2 Saturation albums, 1, 2, 3 all together, just perfect. What is the best album by the Death Grips?
The best album by Death Grips, according to critic and user reviews, is The Money Store.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I personally really like Government Plates. And I know that seems like such a hipster opinion, but I don't know. When I first listened to it, I connected with it, it just clicked with me, and I remember going into that album knowing full well that it was the album that most Death Grips fan kind of put on the bottom of their list, but for whatever reason, I loved it. I loved the kind of minimal vocal contributions of MC Ride. I loved how glitchy and noisy it was. I'm sad that CD versions don't exist of it, and vinyl copies are so fucking expensive because I really want to own a physical version of it. But whatever. Money Store, yeah, that sounds about right. I think that is the one that most people enjoy the most. What is the best album by the White Stripes?
The best album by the White Stripes, according to critic and user reviews, is Elephant.
That's a good choice. I really like Elephant. That one is probably my second favorite album. My first favorite album by the White Stripes would be De Style. That was an album that really got me into blues music as a whole. I'd never really heard the combination of punk and blues, especially something that raw and minimal. Thanks to that record, I got into Robert Johnson and Son House, and really, actually, I think I got more into the White Stripes after listening to that album. But yeah, De Style is number 1 for me, and Elephant, very, very close second place. What is the best album by the Beatles?
The best album by the Beatles, according to critic and user reviews, is Revolver.
That doesn't surprise me. That one doesn't surprise me. That one is a tricky question to answer, because I feel like you're gonna get varying answers from anyone you ask. Even robots. But if you were to ask me, the White Album is definitely my favorite Beatles album. Just very, very diverse, all kinds of sounds they do, from, the classic poppy sound that they were doing when they first started out, more heavier sounding stuff like Helter Skelter, even some experimental stuff like on Revolution 9, which is a track that I didn't like when I was a kid, but love as a fan of experimental music. But yeah, Revolver is also a very good album. What is the best album by the Gorillaz?
The best album by Gorillaz, according to critic and user reviews, is Humans.
What? What? No. Absolutely not. Humans is probably my least favorite album by that group. That's blasphemy. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the self-titled debut. But even then, I don't know if I can pick between the debut and Demon Days. Both of those albums are so good. But Humans? No. That's a bad choice. No. Alright, Internet, I think I'm done asking my robot roommate questions here. I would be curious what your guys' favorite albums are from the list I asked. Leave a comment down below telling me the stuff you liked, whether you agree with her, agree with me, disagree with her, disagree with me, whatever. Let's generate some discussion here. If you also like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It'll show me the support and I'll love your face for it. And you can also follow me on Instagram for even more music. I post a new album on there semi-frequently, talk a little bit about it, and it gives you a bit of an insight of what else is in my collection. So, thank you all so very much for watching. This is Olin and Alexa from What I'm Listening To, signing out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.